Yo, it's MartydudeVR, and as you guys know, I've been a long-time PCVR guy. I played a lot of PCVR games since 2020 when I first got into VR. So I've come up with 10 games that you need to try for PCVR like today. And as a warning, guys, this video does include newer and some older PCVR games. So you might see a game that you've never seen before or never even heard of until this video. If I managed to introduce you to a new game, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, support the channel. And before we get into the video, I gotta let you guys know this video is sponsored by me. So I put out my Cat VR Catwalk C2 Core omnidirectional VR treadmill review, and it has been going well. The comments been positive. A lot of people are liking the new format. So if you ever been interested in a VR treadmill, make sure you check out that video. I spent a lot of time working on that, and so I really appreciate you guys' support. And if you want a VR treadmill for $870, hit the description below, use my coupon code MartyDude, and get you the cheapest VR treadmill out. All right, guys, talk about our first game, which is Underworld Overseer. This is one of the most underrated VR games that come out this year, and I have been having a blast with it. Underworld Overseer is very reminiscent of games like Dungeon Keeper. Basically, you run a dungeon as the dungeon boss. Your main goal is to eliminate as many heroes entering the dungeon as you possibly can. So this means you may have to actually raise monsters. So that means making farms for your monsters to feed them, making beds for them, advancing science and magic to arm your monsters, and it is fun. The main thing that I love about this game is it actually has a fair level of difficulty. There's been plenty of times where I wasted a little time in a dungeon and got absolutely wiped out by the enemies. So if you're looking for a dungeon game with a fair amount of difficulty to it, Underworld Overseer is the game you need to play. Myron Games sent me this game a few months ago and I instantly fell in love with it. That's why I push it as much as I can, because I genuinely believe this is one of the best games to come out this year. So if you want to become a dungeon boss, Underworld Overseer is the way to go. Our second game is Skydance's Behemoth. So I've got the chance to play this game on a VR treadmill, and it has been amazing. I love Behemoth. The thing about this game that I love is that it's literally like one of my most favorite games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. If you've never played Shadow of the Colossus, basically you gotta go fight these giant, Colossus, and they're like titans. And you gotta climb on them and break them down piece by piece. And it is one of the best games of all time. I feel like Behemoth captures that vibe perfectly, because seeing the Behemoth in a VR headset is like next level. Now, Skydance did make Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and you can definitely tell the combat, some of the combat leaked over to this game, because it kind of has like the stamina system, and when you get tired, there's a slow swing and stuff like that. But the parrying is actually really fun. Takes a while to get used to, and it can be a little clunky, but overall, I genuinely did have fun with the combat in this game. It's not quite the level of Blade and Sorcery or any of those physics simulators, but I think it does pretty well considering the environment and pretty much their previous history of working on combat in VR games. It also has a real cool kind of God of War or Skyrim, or even sometimes even Dark Souls type vibe. So if you're looking for a game where you can climb, jump, there's a grappling hook, really good parkour, and really cool combat, and behemoths, then you need to go play Skydance's Behemoth. A lot of people have it as their game of the year, even over Batman Arkham Shadow, so go try it out. And not to mention, it definitely looks amazing on PC. Like, this game is gorgeous. There's a lot of times where I just sat there and was just like, wow. Our third game is one that a lot of people surprised me with. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 situation. They're two separate games, but we're gonna be one on the list. Guys, we're talking about Contractors VR and Contractors Showdown. If you've never played Contractors before, it is basically the closest VR is ever gonna get to Call of Duty. I've been a long-time fan of Contractors and I love it. I played it regularly. I played it basically on a VR treadmill. I played it any way I could play Contractors. I have played it on different headsets, and I always love the experience. The main draw of Contractors VR is basically the modding scene. You got Halo, Call of Duty, Titanfall, Team Fortress, even some Battlefield maps, and like a bunch of different just situations going on in one game. And they have World War I and World War II maps. And not to mention, my favorite version of Battlefront out right now is on Contractors. It has the most advanced Star Wars mod I've ever seen. This is the type of game that you can play and get thousands and thousands of hours of enjoyment out of. And I've been playing this since about 2020. A lot of people don't know that contractors exist, which is like insane to me because it's probably my favorite shooter in the VR scene. They also dropped a battle royale mode called Contractor Showdown. Now, a lot of people are kind of mixed between, regular contractors and Showdown, but personally, I think Showdown has a lot of value. Personally, I'm not into battle royales, but when I did play it, I had fun. If you're looking for a VR battle royale situation that's real close to Warzone and not like Fortnite, then you definitely want to play Contractor Showdown. There are battle passes and microtransactions in it, but they're not intrusive whatsoever. And you can totally play the game regularly. And if any of you guys ever want to play Contractors while I'm on stream, just join my Discord and hit me up, let me know. Our fourth game is Blade and Sorcery. So like, I know a lot of you guys are like, man, everybody knows about Blade and Sorcery. Not actually. A lot of people don't know Blade and Sorcery exists. So they just came out with their 1.0 game mode. And it's crazy because I've been playing this game since I started playing Blade and Sorcery, 2021. And to see the leaps and bounds this game has made over time is astonishing. If you didn't know, to me personally, Blade and Sorcery is the best combat sim out right now. What originally made Blade and Sorcery really special was how vivid and kind of brutal the combat was and how moddable the game was. I mean, you can put Sasuke from Naruto, you can put Naruto in the game, Guts, Batman, Spider-Man. There's really no limit to the amount of mods you can put in the game. I even beat somebody up at Spider-Man one time. That was really great. And in their 1.0 update, they released a full storyline and dungeon size quest. So there's a lot of replayability added to the game outside of just, booting up into a sandbox. But I will say, just playing the sandbox held me down for a long time. Like, this game didn't have a story till recently, and the story is actually pretty interesting. So if you ever want to play a full combat sim, go play Blade and Sorcery. And if you find some really cool mods, make sure you send them to me because I love looking at Blade and Sorcery mods. And if you guys actually go play it, make sure you check out the Star Wars mods on there because it's actually like S tier and it's kind of fun. It's like people can have with a lightsaber. Who would have knew? All right, guys, our fifth game is Iron Rebellion. So I'm gonna get on the soapbox here, just hear me out. This is legit VR Titanfall. Now you're like, VR Titanfall, that's interesting. How come I never heard of it? That's because they didn't want you to. So the developers just recently put out the full release of the game because they wanted to kind of cook it in the background, make sure it was, optimized and stuff like that. This is the game that if you don't play any game on this list, please go play Iron Rebellion because those developers deserve it. They genuinely accomplished something that I don't think a lot of AAA studios could get right. And that is the feeling of piloting a mech in VR. They did it. It is done. It's fully completed. There's even a bunch of maps you can play. There's different game modes. It's a genuine VR mech experience. I'm working on getting a Roto VR right now so I can kind of rotate with my head while I'm playing, just so I can fully immerse myself in that game. I also got some content for that game coming out soon. I've just been really busy and very backlogged, but I'm going to get to that soon and make a full video showcasing that game. So if you haven't played Iron Rebellion or even heard of it, please go support those developers. Our sixth game is Into the Radius 2. Into the Radius is essentially Stalker, the VR game. I love playing Into the Radius 1 on the PSVR 2, and the second game gets even better with the graphics, and it's out in early access right now. The developers are really nice and they're always adding content and updates to the game. So if you want an early access game that actually gets updates, support this one. Basically, the premise of Into the Radius 2 is that you have to go into the place called the Radius. So the Radius has these strange anomalies and stuff going on, and you get specific missions that you get from your base to go in and find certain artifacts or take out certain things. And it's really immersive as a VR game. Not to mention the art style is really cool. And if you have a headset that does darkness really well, this game is phenomenal. I used the PSVR 2 and the Bigscreen Beyond for this game, and just the different contrast in the art style and the darknesses and brightnesses amazing. You can also upgrade your guns at your base, and it has exceptional gun handling. The guns in this game are amazing. If you're a person who likes doing inventory management, gun maintenance, you're gonna love Into the Radius 2 because you're gonna do a lot of that. And also the cool thing about Into the Radius 2 is that you can also go in solo or go in with a friend. Personally, I haven't played with a friend yet, but I have heard it's some of the most fun people have had in VR. So if you don't do scary games well by yourself, take a friend, go into the radius, and let me know what you find. And next we have one of my favorite releases this year, and that is Underdogs. Underdogs is basically like this UK themed mech game. It's a little post-apocalyptic. Underdogs is literally one of the most unique VR games that I have ever played. And it's one of the few VR games that you can play that actually has UK rap as the main soundtrack. As you guys know, I'm a sucker for good soundtracks in video games, and being able to use a mech and brawl with other mechs and different enemies is amazing. So you move around by swinging your arms, similar to Gorilla Tag, but the main difference is you're in the mech. You can also customize your mech, use different arm attachments and different movement and stuff like that to make your own situation. Now, this game is a roguelike, so you're gonna die a lot and restart a lot. You also make choices throughout the game that are really important, because I have destroyed relationships in game that messed up my whole run. And that's one of the things I really like about the game, is that they give you a chance to do some really grimy stuff, but there can be some big consequences. So it's really up to you to think about whether it's worth it or not. And with the amount of swinging you do in this game, make sure you have a lot of room in your play space. But from music to art styles, just the overall vibe of the game, Underdogs is probably one of the best VR games out right now. Our 8th game is Arizona Sunshine Remake. So Arizona Sunshine is the remake of a classic zombies VR game, and honestly might be the best thing they put out in terms of Arizona Sunshine. Vertigo Games put out Arizona Sunshine 2 last year, and I genuinely feel like the remake of 1 is better than the second game they put out last year. The main thing that makes this remake special is their upgraded graphics, upgraded melee, the guns feel way better, and just a better product than the original Arizona Sunshine. I reviewed this about 2 months ago, and it's probably the most fun I've had in a zombie VR game in a long time. Ever since playing it, I've been saying that Arizona Sunshine Remake has some of the most satisfying, not the best, but the most satisfying melee combat with zombies I've played in VR. The guns are also really upgraded, and they feel really great while playing the game. Now, the story is there. The story honestly has never been good for Arizona Sunshine, but if you want to play a fun co-op experience or even a solo experience, this is the game to do it. You can also play the DLC from the first game. It's also been remade, and it's actually really good. So if you're looking for a fun co-op or just solo zombie experience that's not really being matched right now, go play Arizona Sunshine Remake. All right, guys, our 9th game is one that I recently discovered is amazing. Now, a lot of you guys have played it probably in VR, or even played it flat. I didn't even know it had a VR game. Guys are talking about Skyrim for VR. Now, I tried it a few years ago, but when I tried it a few years ago, I tried it unmodded. That was a bad idea. Bethesda never makes good games that are good unmodded. So that was a L on me being a Bethesda fan. I should have knew better. And even then, I flipped over in the carriage ride in the beginning of the game like 15 times, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm never playing this again. But I played it again this year, and I played it on the VR treadmill, and this is a life-changing game. So I used Mad God's Overhaul, which adds like 300 gigs of mods, and it makes it a truly unique VR experience that I've never played before. I've been playing VR for about 4 years now, 5 years actually, it's 2025. And this is in my top 10. I played a lot of different games, y'all. Skyrim VR is one of the most immersive things that I have touched. And it's crazy because the game looks a little bit older. It's very dated. But the thing is, the amount of immersion and interactivity with the mod packs is nuts. If you've played Skyrim VR before, re-download it, use Mad God's Overhaul. He just put out 3.0. And you need to experience that. So far, I'm probably like 10% into the game. I had to restart because of mod issues, but I'm still a Dragonborn and I'm having fun. So if you want to see me play Skyrim VR, guys, make sure you come to the stream, because that's literally all I'm playing right now on stream. It's probably one of those PCVR experiences that you like need to play as a point of this list, so go play it. And shame on you, Bethesda, for not finishing the port. I don't know why Bethesda doesn't finish their VR ports. They got Fallout 4 VR, they never finished, and it's just a shame. Shame on you, Bethesda. Before we get into our 10th game, guys, make sure you check out VR Raw prescription lenses. They are the best prescription lenses on the market and have always supported the channel, so I support them. So use my code MartydudeVR to get 10% off. Help me help you save some money. You shouldn't have to pay more for something you can't help, like eyesight. And also, their prescription lenses work on any VR headset, so they cover the whole board in terms of VR. Last but not least, we have our final entry on this list, which is one of the quintessential PCVR experiences that you need to try out if you can get it to run at a good frame rate. We're talking about No Man's Sky for VR. So I love No Man's Sky. It's probably my favorite space game ever. The main issue though with No Man's Sky VR is that it's really hard to run. So if you're gonna run this game, there's a bunch of different videos on YouTube on how to optimize it for your card. Personally, I recommend a 30 series and up. You can make it work with a 20 series and down, but you're gonna have to do a lot of cutting graphically. But once you get a stable frame rate on this game, it's just different. It's one of those experiences that you need to try out if you can try it. My first time walking around on a planet in No Man's Sky VR, I almost teared up because it was just so beautiful and immersive. As you guys know, the devs are always updating the VR version. Personally, I do still feel the best version of No Man's Sky VR is on the PSVR 2 because of the foveated rendering. But if you can get it working on your PC, it's just as good, if not even a little better in certain circumstances, especially if you have a higher end card. So if you're looking for essentially the best space game that I can recommend you outside of like Elite Dangerous in VR or Lone Echo or Red Matter, this No Man's Sky is literally the game for you. In No Man's Sky, you basically explore the universe, you map out different things, you can build colonies, there's even a mech you can get, you can fly around in space, all with no loading screens. I've had freighters, different ships, I've owned multiple planets. So if you're looking for the experience that is the quintessential space simulator, No Man's Sky is it. Now, No Man's Sky doesn't have a real concrete story. It's kind of sprinkled in here and there, and you can follow it. But the main thing about No Man's Sky is the exploration. So if you're an explorer like me, yeah, you're gonna love this game for sure. If you're looking for more of a story experience, there's definitely other games out there like Lone Echo or even Red Matter. But to sum it up, guys, if your PC can run this game, highly recommend it, 10 out of 10. All right, guys, that is it for our list. Let me know if I introduced you to a game that you've never seen before or played before. I love PCVR, and I'm so happy a lot more people are joining the ecosystem, from like Bigscreen Beyond, more Valve Index people, more Quest headsets, PSVR 2. I'm a supporter of all VR guys. I'm just happy y'all are playing PCVR. Like I said before, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, come back for more content. Check out that VR Treadmill review because it's actually going up right now, and you might see it on your recommendation by the time this video goes up. With that being said, it's been MartydudeVR, and remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.